This is surely one of the most traumatic and critical moments in the Catholic Church since the resignation of Pope Benedict XVI. As many of you know, last weekend, Archbishop Carlo Maria Viganò, the former Vatican ambassador to the U.S., released a testimony outlining explosive charges of sexual corruption in the Church and calling out by name clerics who allegedly enabled it, including the Pope. We will have full analysis of the testimony from Father Gerald Murray, Robert Royal, and a special report from Edward Pentin. If you'd like to comment on tonight's show, send me a tweet. I'm at Raymond Arroyo. I will be live tweeting throughout. Joining us with the latest from Rome and the fallout is the reporter who broke the Viganò story, the National Catholic Register's Edward Pentin. Edward, thank you for being here.
Good to be with you, Raymond.
At the heart of Viganò's charges is the allegation that Pope Benedict placed sanctions on then Cardinal McCarrick after learning of his sexual misdeeds sometime between 2009 and 2011. Now, in your original report, you wrote this: "The Register has independently confirmed that the allegations against McCarrick were certainly known to Benedict, and the Pope Emeritus remembers instructing Cardinal Bertone to impose measures, but cannot recall their exact nature." Now, you are standing by that report, and people are attacking you for it. What say you?
Yes, well, this is certainly a very, very good source who told me that, and it seems very clear that Pope Benedict did enforce sanctions. He did impose sanctions. He passed them on to instructed Cardinal Bertone, who then instructed the Congregation for Bishops, who then told Archbishop Sambi, the then nuncio. And then this apparently was passed on to then Cardinal McCarrick.
Now, there was some controversy, Ed Pentin, earlier this week when news outlets published remarks by Archbishop Georg Ganswein, Benedict and Francis's secretary, in a German periodical that seemed to undercut your reporting. Ganswein said this: "Pope Benedict has not commented on the memorandum of Archbishop Viganò and will not do it." He went on to call any assertion that Benedict commented on the Viganò allegations fake news. Your reaction?
Well, he's exactly right, because there was never any, Archbishop Viganò never actually said that Benedict had seen, well, Benedict hadn't seen his testimony, and so there was no way that he could affirm this. So I think he's right in that. What he didn't say and what he didn't deny is that there were sanctions imposed on Cardinal McCarrick, and that is what I understand to be true, and he never denied that. So we stand by our report on that.
And Ed, you discovered that when? You didn't discover this after the Viganò report. You actually discovered this a month ago.
Yeah, this is an inquiry I made following the revelations of Cardinal McCarrick, and I had given sort of advanced notice about this testimony. So I wanted to find out before then just what Pope Benedict knew, and really to find out, what if there were any sanctions imposed, because if they were and they were lifted, then we need to know really what they were and whether to what extent they were imposed. But I found out that Benedict couldn't really remember what they were.
Tell us about Archbishop Viganò. There are a lot of negative reports out there claiming he's a disgruntled employee, he's settling scores, a partisan bent on taking the Pope down. What is your impression of Viganò's character, and how is he regarded in Rome?
Well, he is seen as very much a man of great integrity, and someone who's very reliable and trusted. He certainly was seen as a nuncio, and also here beforehand when he was in the governatorate, he was responsible for a lot of the finances of the running of Vatican City State. And of course he stood up against the corruption there, and that's what led him being sent to the nunciature, because there was touching on too many truths which people didn't like, and so he was forced out of there.
And we should tell people he was really at the heart of that Vatileaks scandal when the papal butler was taking notes and correspondence off the Pope's desk. Some of what was leaked was Archbishop Viganò's revelations of corruption in the Governato, in the Vatican City State. Tell us about Monsignor Jean-Francois Lantium. He was the number 2 at the Vatican Embassy here in Washington. He attested to Viganò's credibility. He said, "Viganò said the truth, that is all." But like Viganò, he seems to be fearing a bit for his life. What can you tell us about that, and why is Viganò in hiding?
Yes, well, this is very strong testimony from his number two from the nunciature, and he says he never worked with anyone better than Archbishop Viganò, and saw him as a great man of integrity. But he also said on his Facebook page, and I've seen it, is that he's also very afraid of his life if he were to make any revelations, and that's the same with Archbishop Viganò. And I think they're afraid of the sort of vindictiveness that can come from this, from some of the people that they worked with. And I think this seems to be quite clear, and they're very concerned that they'll be sort of score settled by those that they've crossed and those that they've found out, or that he's found out of corruption. So he's very concerned about that, and he sees the threat as very real.
Yeah, the Monsignor there on his Facebook page, at the end he says, if I get chopped up by chainsaws or there's a suspicion that I committed suicide, that's not true. The Pope has yet to respond to these allegations, Ed, on point. What is the sense in Rome? Is there panic? I mean, so many of these officials are named in this testimony. They can't be happy with this.
No, I mean, there was a report yesterday in the Associated Press saying that the Pope, his closest aides say that he's embittered, and he's not going to resign, but he's very embittered by it all. I think he's obviously very concerned about these. He doesn't, as we know from the past, he doesn't take these things well. I don't know what he's said or reacted behind the scenes, but certainly he won't be happy about this. But I think he's just taking his time to know really how to react. I think his comments on the papal plane were really just a sort of stalling episode, really, just to say, well, look, I don't know quite what to do yet, but I will know in the coming days, and I think that's what we're going to see, some sort of action in some way.
We shall
in the coming
see.
Days.
Is there a sense in Rome among officials at the Vatican? Do they appreciate the outrage and the fury of Catholics in the pew, not only in the U.S. but around the world, when they read these revelations, particularly after that grand jury report in Pennsylvania came out?
I think they do, but of course it's kind of filtered through here, so people don't really understand or really get the sense, the sort of visceral sense of the anger and frustration that you would in the United States. But there is, but they do understand the level of anger, at least, and I think that's certainly hit home. But whether it's going to sort of transform into action, we don't know, because it's happened quite often, and they are very aware, of sort of discontent. But whether it actually has an effect on how they change and how they change systems and processes, we don't know. But it's the precedent isn't all that good, so we'll just have to see.
Cardinal Maradiaga of Honduras, a close papal collaborator, head of the Holy Father's Council of Cardinals, he's also named in this testimony, called out as a kingmaker, somebody who defended some of these miscreant bishops. He calls it defamation and slander. And he also said this in a Spanish language interview today: I am the victim of a hitman who practices media harassment, and he is called Edward Pentin. Why is he so sore with you, Ed? And are you an enemy of reform?
Not at all, no. I mean, my job as a journalist is really to draw attention to the truth so that things can be made better. And I regret that he said that, because I've never thought of myself as a hitman before. But if that's the way he sees it, fair enough. But that's not what I'm up to. I'm really just trying to expose the truth so that they can actually tackle these things and reform, because there's a lot of injustice, especially in Honduras. So a lot of people who are very upset, very concerned. There's a lot of corruption there in the church, and they want it sorted out. And unless it's exposed, that's not going to happen. So I'm just really trying to do my job there.
Edward Pentin, we thank you for your reporting, your hard work, and tell James Bond and Maxwell Smart we said hello.
I will. Thank you.
Okay.